Nobody ever expects to be involved in an emergency at sea. Yet we know that ships and lives continue to be lost at sea. So it could happen to us. We know that all crew need to be trained in personal survival before they go to sea. However, you may have forgotten some things since your initial training. So this film is here to help you refresh your knowledge. Ideally, you should watch this film with at least 2 of your colleagues, so that you can discuss what you've seen. We will ask you some questions at the end of the film, so that you can reflect on what you have seen and heard. The muster list, also known as the emergency plan, is an important plan that is posted in several conspicuous places on board your vessel. The emergency plan gives detailed information on everyone's duties in case of a fire alarm or the general alarm for muster stations. In the case of fire, man overboard or any other emergency, you must familiarise yourself with how to raise the alarm, what the general alarm signals sound like, and what to do when it sounds. As you just heard, the IMO standard general alarm signal is 7 short blasts, followed by 1 long blast on the ship's whistle or siren. This same signal sounds simultaneously on the ship's alarm bells. When the general alarm is raised, proceed quickly to your muster station for a head count and further instructions. On vessels with only 1 free-fall lifeboat, the muster station is a common assembly point, normally located at a short distance from the lifeboat embarkation and the firefighting station. Check the safety plan to find the location of your muster station and a list of the ship's life-saving appliances. The safety plan will be posted in easy-to-see places, such as alleyways outside the ship's office, mess rooms and emergency exit corridors. There will also be space for everyone to gather before they move to the embarkation stations to board the craft. These stations must be easy to access from the accommodation and all work areas. On the safety plan, you will also find all escape routes and the shortest way to the lifeboat embarkation station. The SOLAS LSA and FFA training manuals include detailed instructions on how to operate your vessel's life-saving and firefighting appliances. These are normally found in the vessel's day rooms. Remember, you must take part in regular drills, so that you know exactly how to get off safely in the event of abandoning ship. If you are a reserve, in case someone else is unavailable, make sure you learn their duties as well as your own, and don't be afraid to ask for further training if you don't understand anything. This will help if someone is unwell or unable to attend their shift, and you need to take over their emergency duties. On board, you'll find life-saving equipment designed to protect you from drowning. This is often very visible, as it is brightly coloured. To make it easier to see at night, most equipment is fitted with reflective tape that reflects the light from torches and searchlights. Lights are fitted to some lifebuoys, while all SOLAS life jackets are fitted with a light and whistle so you can attract attention during darkness or poor visibility. Lifebuoys can be used to prevent drowning by helping someone remain afloat. There are various types, some of which have attachments fitted. Those without attachments are easier to throw overboard, but they are not as effective when attempting a rescue. Some lifebuoys have lights attached. Though the attachment makes it harder to throw, the light turns on automatically when it's thrown overboard, helping to reveal its location at night. Others are fitted with buoyant lifelines, so the person in the water can be pulled alongside and rescued. There is also a lifebuoy with a light and smoke signal, also known as a man overboard buoy. This is fitted on the outer part of each bridge wing, stowed in a cage with a quick release system. A rope connects the lifebuoy to the smoke and light container, which is activated by the weight of the lifebuoy when it is released. When it hits the water, orange smoke and light is activated, ensuring it is visible both during the day and at night. The smoke and light will last for 15 minutes. Hypothermia occurs when the human body temperature drops below 35 degrees Celsius. When hypothermia begins will depend on the seawater temperature and length of time the person is in the water. Generally, if the water is between 3 and 5 degrees Celsius, a person's expected survival time would be below 3 hours, and unconsciousness would occur within 1 hour. As the length of time that the body takes to shut down is heavily dependent on the temperature, the warmer the water is, the longer a human can survive, though hypothermia can still occur when the water is 25 degrees Celsius. The colder it gets, the less time it takes for the body to shut down. But if the water is less than 3 degrees Celsius, it can take less than 15 minutes to make a person unconscious, with death occurring soon after. On board vessels, there are certain aids that help against the onset of hypothermia. The first is a thermal protective aid, also known as a TPA. This is like a thin plastic sleeping bag. Lifeboats and life rafts contain TPAs, which cover the body and keep the person warm by insulating the body with a pocket of air. The TPA is not supposed to be used in water. It should be used to keep the body warm after being picked up from cold water and brought into the life raft or lifeboat. Although some ships may not carry them, such as those trading where the sea is always warm, immersion suits help to keep you dry if you are likely to get wet while abandoning ship. This would be the case if your vessel only has throw overboard life rafts. There are two types of immersion suit: those made of insulating material and those without insulation. If your ship only has the type without insulation, you need to wear warm clothing underneath. Both types of immersion suits are available in many sizes, but they may just be a universal fit, which are more difficult to move in. Most of these have to be worn with a life jacket, so make sure that the jacket fits over the suit. Anti-exposure suits are the last type of hypothermia protection to consider. These are designed to keep you dry while working, and are usually easier to work in than immersion suits. However, they are only usually provided to the crew operating rescue boats or marine evacuation systems. On some vessels, you may need to collect your suit before proceeding to muster stations. On others, they may be stored directly at the station. Check your safety plan to learn the location of these and familiarize yourself with where hypothermia aids are stored. There is more than one type of life jacket that can protect you from drowning. The two most common types are the solid foam buoyancy and the inflatable, which are easier to move in and allow you to use your hands more freely. Both types of SOLAS-approved life jackets are constructed so that they turn you in the water and keep you floating with your face up, even if you are unconscious. Some life jackets are marked on front and back to indicate the correct way to wear them. You will find it easier to swim with your face upwards while wearing a life jacket. Extra large jackets are also available. Inflatable life jackets might be supplied where a free-fall lifeboat is fitted, or to allow easy movement for launching crews. Some inflatable life jackets are protected by a cover and will inflate automatically in water. In case of damage, these have two separate flotation chambers. If they leak, you can top them up by blowing into the tube. Just like other SOLAS foam-filled life jackets, The inflatable life jackets also turn you to keep your mouth and nose clear of the water. Ships that carry children who are too small to use adult life jackets will have special ones provided. The same bright colours, whistles, reflective tapes and lights are used, and the size will be marked on the jacket. For infants, life jackets or buoyant cots might also be provided. Non-SOLAS inflatable life jackets or other lightweight solid buoyancy aids might be provided for overside or on-deck working. But remember, these are not intended for abandoning ship. Check your safety plan for life jacket stowage locations. The main function of a Global Maritime Distress and Safety System, or a GMDSS, is to alert rescuers of an emergency on your ship. It does this by sending a distress message with the ship's identification and GPS position to other ships and the authorities ashore. This is the best way of calling for help in case of an emergency or distress situation, as it allows two-way communication and you can best describe your situation. Your main radio set has a much greater range than portable VHFs. This will increase the chances of someone hearing your call. All passenger and cargo ships of 500 gross tonnage and upwards are provided with a minimum of 3 portable VHF sets. This is for effective two-way communication between survival craft and nearby rescuers. They are waterproof, with a special one-use non-rechargeable battery, and are good for 8 hours use when making short transmissions, followed by longer listening periods. Check whether the special batteries are stored inside the radio or kept separate. The emergency position indicating radio beacon is located outside, often on top of the bridge, so that if the ship sinks, the beacon will be released by water pressure at a preset depth and float free. It will then automatically transmit a distress signal via satellite to specialist rescue centres ashore. The ship's identification will then broadcast for around 2 days. Communication is transmit only and, after some hours, the beacon's position can be calculated ashore. The EPIRB may also broadcast a homing signal to aircraft, so if you have to abandon ship, take it to a survival craft and tie it to the grab line so it has a clear view of the satellites above. The Search and Rescue Transponder, or SART, should also be carried to the survival craft, unless SARTs are permanently fitted in them. When switched on, the SART will respond to a radar pulse, transmitting a homing signal which is seen on a radar screen. There may be no sign that it's working, but fix it onto the survival craft as high as possible to maximize the range. Use a mounting pole if one is supplied. As well as high-tech radio equipment, your ship will have pyrotechnic distress signals. These are like specialized fireworks, but they don't have the range of an MF or HF radio. When rescuers are nearby, you can use them to show that you are in trouble and to highlight your position. They are normally stowed on the bridge and inside lifeboats and life rafts. Parachute flares have the greatest range and they can be seen up to 20 miles away at night. They are also effective in daylight, but they aren't very good when there is poor visibility. Remember, the flare goes up about 300 meters, so do not use them if a helicopter is near. Red hand flares are smaller and only burn for about 1 minute, so they should not be used until rescuers are within sight. Buoyant orange smoke signals can be thrown into the water during daylight, when rescuers are in sight. They produce dense orange smoke for 3 minutes and are especially useful to show the surface wind direction to rescue helicopters. There are other methods of communication that can be used with signalling equipment, including Morse code, which can be sent using a torch or by using a special mirror, known as a heliograph, to reflect the sun towards a rescuer. You could also use a whistle or horn, and some ships carry airband radios, allowing direct communications with search aircraft. Personal locator beacons are now available, which work like small EPIRBs. These are usually supplied only where there is a high chance of someone being lost overboard. As a group exercise, can you name all of the places where the muster list and safety plan are posted on your ship? Could you find your way from either your cabin or your normal place of work to your muster station in the dark? Have you also thought about an alternative route in case your normal route was blocked? Do you think you have had enough practice at wearing a thermal protective aid or an immersion suit if you have one? Do you know what type of immersion suit you would be using? Insulated or uninsulated? Single size or custom size? What would you do if you saw someone wearing the wrong type of life jacket for the activity they were doing?